All right, it's Saturday morning. I'm recording this literally bright and early Saturday morning here on the West Coast, and this is the finals preview for the NRBC. I am not going to be able to go through every single horse, although the list I made is quite excessive. We're going to be looking at a lot of horses here today, and at the end I'll give you my picks for my top 3 or 5. I haven't decided yet. I'm doing this on the fly. So, prelims. Crazy, excessively great, dynamic, electric. Everybody brought their A game, and including a lot of horses that came straight from Scottsdale 3 weeks ago and showed at Scottsdale. It was really impressive to see them come back and show that strong immediately. I think the dynamic amount of horses that were able to run at that hard and show that well shows off the strength and caliber of horses we've got right now. It was an incredible display, and it's the same thing I've been saying. This is like being involved in the most forward progressing era of NRHA of all time. So, without further ado, we're going to look at a few things from tonight and see my opinion on a few things. I'm going to name off a few people that I covered in the preview. You don't need to. I'm not going to go into full detail. Francesco Martinotti, Danny Tremblay, Ruben Van Dorp. I can't read my own handwriting. Sorry, it's right above there. Fernando Salgado made it on 3. I don't know if anyone can win it, but that's a good group of horses, and Fernando is showing how consistent he has become as a horse trainer. It's really good to see that. Dwayne Latimer got in there on Ziggy Rocks and had a great run in the prelims, so I think we're looking at that. Sean Flaherty surprised me. The shiner on my eye didn't show up the way I expected him to, and the mare, the All Eyes Adore Her mare, is still a little immature. She's got some talent, but she's still just a little immature, and it showed a little bit when she showed her. Craig only made it back on 1, which is kind of surprising. I expected him to make it back on everything he shows, but I expect that of him everywhere he goes. But setting off to town looked really, really good, and I think we have a shot to see Craig pull off an NRBC upset here with that one. Trevor Dare has 2 in it. The one I think is absolutely lethal. The other one could be interesting to see because it's shown some flashes, and that's the Gangster 66 horse. I think the Spat Toy Boy Gun is still probably his better of his 2 and his favorite to go do something here. Matt Mills did not make it on the horse I think is his best horse, but then turn around and that's just some bad luck. If you guys don't know what happened, Matt was literally doing the first maneuver. He was spinning, and that thing was turning a 1 and just slipped coming to the finish and touched a hawk to the ground, so it's a 5-point penalty. And I think with a 5-point penalty, and you probably should have got him for the overturn too, they still marked him a 209.5, which means he would have been right there. He comes back on Friday night, goes and wins the open class, the 25,000 added open. And now we're here, and he's showing stopping in Jersey, which is no slouch in the reigning pen. I don't know if Matt's on a roll, but it'd be nice for him if he could pull it off and do 2 in a row. Like, that was a great run last night to mark a 30 from the first horse out in that open class. Let's see what happens here, but I'm expecting more from Matt. Those of you who watch this regularly know I'm usually kind of hard on Matt in finals, but I'm expecting a lot here because I like that horse, and I like where Matt's head's at. I got to talk to him a little bit at Cactus, and I like where his head's at right now. I think he's got something there. Whether it's a winner or not, I don't know, but probably in the top 10. I talked about Ruben. Let's get down to brass tacks. So one of the people who I did mention in the preview, and is not necessarily always considered a favorite, but I think this horse is really special, and especially considering it's a 4-year-old, is Slick Tricks and Casey O'Rourke. I don't know if I could say that's the best tricked out spook I've ever seen. It's on the short list, but it probably is the best turning. It has probably the best turnarounds or spins of any tricked out spook I've ever seen. Casey's done a phenomenal job with this one. I think that she could put herself in a position to probably win. She's in a position to win the level 3, and in a position to be right near the top of the level 4 if everything goes right. And I'm not saying it will, I'm not saying it won't, but if everything goes right, that horse is really cool. I think that there's something special there. And there's something special about that pairing. They just work together. That Slick Tricks and Casey work together. And also, Casey is one half of the only married couple that qualified this year because, or actually, I don't know if they're married or not, but her and her partner, Jack, qualified to make the NRBC finals, which is really good for Jack, too. I don't see his horse as much of a threat as some of these others that I'm talking about. But it's a big accomplishment to be in the level 4 finals no matter where you're at. So, and he jumped up and marked what he needed to mark, and it took a 24.5 to make it back. So now we're going to get into probably my 3 or 4 favorites. I'm going to start with Cade because although I do think he's on this list for a reason and he's got some good horse quality, and he's, as I've said many times, he's one of the best natural showmen I've ever seen. And he's worked at it. I'm not saying he hasn't. I think that his horsepower isn't the strength of, especially the 2 guys at the top, but he and Jason are kind of equal on horsepower to a certain extent. But I think his 1 might be better than what Jason has in the finals, but I don't know where it is consistency-wise. So the MMB Seemia Wimpy looks like it's as good as it's ever been. I don't know if it's got enough to go win this thing, but it's darn sure, upper echelon. He's probably going to go market 74.5, 75, and be about a 24.5 or a 25, and get a really healthy check on that thing. The Good Time to Trash You is bred right. I just don't think that that's what we want to put him in. That's not the one I would put him as the favorite on. Sorry, let me clarify that. It's the one that I would not put as his favorite. I think Varsity Blue is his best horse, and I've said the story at Scottsdale that I never thought that horse had as much as he does. He proved me wrong again, because he was at 29.5 here. And the only question I have, because I didn't get to see that run at live, I didn't see it till it got put on tape later, is did he use up too much of him to get to the finals? You're going to say that about a lot of those horses that I haven't mentioned perfectly, but that's one of the ones that is going to be an interesting thing, is who's used up too much, who has something left. Next is going to be Jason. And here's my thing with Jason Van Landingham. He's one of the best showmen there is. He will show hard, and that's what his whole style is. His horses are going to stop and turn harder than anybody else's. When they're pretty, he's hard to beat. Sometimes that can get a little erratic. And my perfect example of that is going to be Big Time. That horse does everything so hard and so physical, and he's such a big stopper, and he's such a big circler, and he turns so fast. But sometimes his feet will get tangled, and that's the thing, is that little bit of gap, that gives room for other people. And I know he was huge in the first go, but actually for that reason, because he was so huge in the first go, I'm actually going to trust his other horse, who he's dead last on tonight. That's who I would actually be the one to really watch out for, is Ruffalicious. He's not rough at all out of the Magnalicious mare. I think that one might step up and be bigger than the other one, just because he's in the right spot. He's going to know what he has to beat, and he's going to full send to go try to win this thing. So we get to my usual 2 favorites. I feel like lately I'm a broken record about this, especially when they're showing these horses. These 2 guys in this group have 2 fraternity champions, have 2 major winners. They have horses that, and all 6 of these horses could be run for the million horses for any number of people, and they're going to only get to take 2 of them. And that's Andrea and Casey. It's a toss-up who you want to pick in reality. Andrea won the go-round on All Bets Are Off, who, as I've stated before, is my favorite horse going right now. There's something about that horse. I love his style. I love his dynamism. I love everything about that horse. I think he's well-trained. He's well-bred. He's well-trained. He's pretty. He's this, that, and the other. I can go on and on about that horse. The thing that's terrifying to anybody who's showing against that horse is, and he did the same thing at Rain by the Bay, and I said this in the preview, is in a big pen, this horse is great. That horse makes a 230 look easy. In a big pen where he can just stretch out and run, he doesn't look bothered running fast. He doesn't look like anything bugs him. He's going to try his heart out for Andrea. that is a masterful combination with those two. And that's not even the winningest horse he has in the field. Starjack Vintage has won way more, is way more experienced, and is the steady Eddie of 75.5. I mean, he literally, I think, was 75.5 to every judge, or all but one judge in the first go, and from an early draw. Andrea's got that one, who is so solid, so cool, could be as good as any of them. And then you've got Trash Talking Spook, who we all know what he can do. Is he going to do it 2 times in a row in less than a week? Is he going to be that dynamic? I don't know. And that's the part why we have to watch him. With All Bets Are Off's draw, I think he's going to be the biggest threat to win it this time because of the way the draw worked out. But any of those three, and it's Andre on top, so any of those can do it. Casey's my other one. 1030 surprised me. That's the best he's looked to me since he won the Futurity. We all know he's got the physical talent. We all know he's incredibly talented, and Casey's an incredible showman, so Casey can do stuff on him that nobody else could. Casey got that thing running better, got that thing circling better. He doesn't look nearly as wiggly and trying to make his own decisions. He looked like he was waiting on Casey, which is what you want to see out of that horse. But Casey ran him a little harder than he ran the other two because he was up later and he knew what he had to do. That horse, I think, is as good as any of them physically, but this is kind of like what I said about the Assassin the other day with Danny, which is physical talent. He's right there with any of them. Mental maturity, sometimes that horse doesn't show it. Maybe that's where he's grown up a little bit. Because if that horse has mentally matured to where Casey can fully trust him and not take care of him through it, that's a terrifying prospect for anybody else. Living on a Prayer was solid, steady, looks the part. I think that he could very well be one of the best horses in this deal, but he's in a pen with so many greats. And then you all know what I've said about Downright Amazing. He may not be my favorite horse in the country, but I do think he is the best horse in the country right now. Everything I said for All Bets Are Off is the same thing I can say for Amazing, but Amazing is a little more consistent. He does it every time, always. It's just so easy for him. He turns a 1.5 easy. He turns a 1 easy. He stops a 1 easy. He circles a 1.5 easy. He might be the prettiest circler in the country. I have some that I like just a tick more, but to a lot of people, like if you did a consensus, this might be the horse that everybody would look at. He's living up to his name. He's downright amazing. I'm going to get annoyed saying it every horse show he goes to because he is, if he's entered, he may not be my pick to win the prelims, but when it comes final time and Casey sends him, he might be my pick for the rest of the year unless something drastic happens. I mean, we're looking at a horse that 2 years ago we thought was Casey's second best and a step down from Maverick, and now he's matured so well and gotten so physically strong and so mentally mature, and from the looks of it, from the outside looking in, and I'm sure Casey will correct me when he sees me in Vegas, is that horse looks like he has more honesty in the show pen than almost any horse that I've ever seen play at that level. That horse doesn't have a slight bit of cheat in him, and I love that about him. I can talk about this horse for hours. I might even do that at some point and just sit down and talk about those two horses because I can for hours, because I study the way they run and I study the way they show. Because as much as great training brings it out and maximizes it to the level they're at, those are the type of horses that will make somebody great. And when they're with somebody who's already great, it's making it an all-time great, and that's so much fun to watch. So my official predictions. Oh, you're going to make me do this, and I'm doing this on the fly. I don't have this written down. So obviously my top 3 are Andrea's 2 and Casey on Amazing. Let's throw in Varsity Blue in 4th, and I'm going to say Ruffalicious gets 5th. So I'm going to say Ruffalicious with Jason is 5th. I'm going to say Varsity Blue and Cade is 4th. I'm going to say Andrea's 2nd and 3rd. I'm going to put All Bets 3rd, and I'm going to put Trash Talking Spook 2nd, and then I'm going to put Downright Amazing winning it. And just for a bonus pick, I'll throw 1030 in at 6th. But here's the thing is, I can be completely wrong because the top 10, the top 15 is probably going to be a 26 or higher if things go anywhere close to what they did in the prelims. I'm so excited for the finals. Let's see. So enjoy it. And also, just to get some interaction, let's do this. Obviously, I always say the like, comment, share, and subscribe thing. In my comments on anywhere you see this, on wherever it's shared, whatever it is, leave your predictions for the top 3 down below. I know I did a top 5, but just do your top 3. Let's do that. And if I get enough response, then maybe next time we'll do a giveaway on this. But let's do that. And I hope to see you all either Sunday night or Monday morning for the review after this is done. And I hope I get to talk about a great rating. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.